Hey guys, welcome back to another Wuthering Waves video. For today, I wanted to make a guide now that we have a decent number of playable characters. Not too long ago I made one for Genshin and it was extremely well received, so I suppose I could do one for Starl and Wuwa as well just to give everyone a one-stop shop for who to put on their team really quickly. Once again, I highly recommend you refer to the actual full-length and detailed guides on whoever you're trying to build up, but if say you're just trying to put together a quick party for Tower of Adversity, or if you want to have a basic reference for your convenience, this could be a serviceable alternative in the event you don't want to have to search for each individual unit. Although bear in mind I'm going to be rather brief with each character. Couple things to make note of: the best team for a character does not mean the only way to play them. There might be a formation I neglect to mention that's reasonably competitive with the one I do, and if you want to keep playing them that way, then by all means. I'm mostly trying to aim for general circumstances. Then again, team building isn't quite as complex in a game like Wuwa. If anything, your personal mechanics matter a lot more, such as swap cancelling, dodging attacks, and optimizing rotations. There's no external element at play, it's just pure combat and execution. Also, character dependency is not always mutual. X character's best companion might be Y, but Y character's best companion may not necessarily be X. And one last thing, the current landscape of Wuwa is that you want to have your main attacker obviously, and then a secondary attacker, then a support aka healer. We all know who the healing support's gonna be, so for all intents and purposes I'll be covering the unit's main duo partner, so to speak. Anyways, let's begin. We're going to be opening up with all the 4 stars first, beginning with Mortefi. As a follow-up attacker, Mortefi is naturally designed to complement many characters, but if I had to choose who would be his best companion, it would definitely be Jian. Jian scales off heavy attacks and requires extended field time. Mortefi's entire playstyle is all about using his ultimate and then swapping out, making the two an ideal pair. For healing, it should go without saying, choose either Verena or Shorekeeper. You're going to hear me say this a lot. Sanhwa's lack of dependence on field time enables her to be a decent companion for all manner of units, so it might be tough to label who truly is their best one, but given that she incentivizes basic attacks, Encore or Havoc Rover will be the best choice for her. I have a mind to say Encore is a bit better though. People also do use her with Lingyang, but like we have established in the past, Lingyang has too many gameplay flaws to justify being Sanhwa's best partner. Healing support, as per usual, Verena or Shorekeeper. Baiji's best team is literally anything. Healing supports are functionally independent from whatever their team aims to do, as all you're trying to do is get her healing and outro skill. That's it. It's just that being a 4-star, she falls behind Shorekeeper and Verena, but if you have neither, which I'd be very surprised if that were the case, you could substitute either of them with Baiji. Here we have Dungeon, best girl, and I'll fight you if you disagree. Despite technically being a non-field attacker, Dungeon's actual best role is playing second fiddle to Havoc Rover and both running Dreamless, making use of her synergistic outro skill to supplement Rover's burst combo. If you do intend to play her as a carry though, you can pair her with Mortefi for the same reason Jian wants Mortefi. Whichever option you choose, Verena or Shorekeeper for healing. Yuanwu's best partner will be Jinxi. Primarily centered on coordinated attacks, Yuanwu ties nicely with Jinxi's forte circuit, building faster with that kind of attack. The extra toughness damage he deals with his outro skill is also quite helpful in breaking bosses. Her goal is to cast Yuanwu's skill and then swap out, rinse and repeat, Verena or Shorekeeper for healing. Chisha is a rather interesting character and not in the most flattering way. But if you do intend to play her, I think her best role would be as a quick swap attacker with Changli. Chisha is currently the only unit in the game who can take full advantage of Changli's outro. Encore can as well, but she doesn't really deal much liberation damage if any at all. You want to rotate between Chisha and Changli interchangeably with Verena or Shorekeeper for healing. On a side note, I feel like they need to rework gun users or something. I realize they're not releasing any 5-star gun users. Suspicious. Anyway, moving on. Alto's best partner will be Jian. Main reason for that is Alto's outro skill, a 23% arrow damage deepen, and currently Jian's the only wind attacker who can take advantage of it, so it's either him or really no one. Unlike Mortefi and Sanhwa, whose outro skills are a bit more encompassing, Alto's deepen's a single attribute, greatly restricting who he can be paired with efficiently, Verena or Shorekeeper for healing. Are you getting tired of hearing that? Because I'm tired of saying it. Yangyang's multi-role playstyle makes her a passable companion for any attacker really. You can pair her up with a hyper carry, you can pair her up with a quick swap attacker. There's really no one team that she works best with in light of her outro skill working with anyone. She's basically a jack of all trades. Whoever you do decide to pair her with, your support is once again Verena or Shorekeeper. Talchi. Talchi is a strange character. Sadly, this tends to work against her more often than it helps. Public opinion has come to a consensus that she's the worst character in the game. Not unusable, but pragmatically there's something she does that others can't do better. That said, she has a skill damage deepen outro skill, giving her some use. You can sync her up with Changli if you decide to use the latter as a hyper carry, seeing as Changli's all skill damage. But beyond that, there's not really much else to do with Talchi. Once more, Verena or Shorekeeper for healing. Our newest 4-star Yohu is a really strange one, primarily a healer given her forte circuit and one of her inherent skills, but her outro skill is kinda funky. All damage from coordinated attacks get doubled for the incoming Resonator. This could potentially make her more effective than Verena or Shorekeeper if say you link her up with Mortefi or Yinlin or Zhezhi. But then again, Verena and Shorekeeper have some very strong DPS buffs of their own, so it's kind of hard to say if Yohu would be better or worse. If nothing else, you can assign the same role of substitute teacher for Yohu the way I did for Baizhi. If you have neither of the 5-star healers, you can use her. That covers every 4-star character. Now on to the part you probably actually care about. First character is Jinxi, incontestably the strongest DPS in the game at the moment. Her best companion's a tie between Zhezhi, whose strong follow-up attacks and skill damage deepen on her outro make her a fine companion for her, and Yinlin, whose outro skill is not the most conducive to Jinxi's win condition, but deals measurably higher damage while still having coordinated attacks of her own. This is one of the few parties where I would argue Verena has a tangible edge over Shorekeeper since Verena has follow-up attacks while Shorekeeper does not, so I would say this one's a surefire Verena. Yinlin has quite an impressive resume of being used as a backup dancer to a lot of prominent characters like Changli and Jinxi, while also occasionally being a main attacker herself. That said, her best teammate's going to be Shangli Yao. Being essentially Calcara with a mountain of quality of life changes, Shangli Yao makes best use of Yinlin's outro skill, and the two work seamlessly together to dish out tons of electro damage. Definitely be sure to put them together, Verena or Shorekeeper for healing. Zhezhi's follow-up attack nature makes her a decent choice for any skill damage-oriented DPS, but the best one's of course Jinxi. It's a shame Zhezhi's outro skill got changed to not just solely be a skill damage deepen, but even so, until we get a glacial DPS, and by that I mean one who's actually good, Jinxi will be the best one, and in light of Jinxi being Zhezhi's best attacker, use Verena for healing. Verena's best team is yes. Shorekeeper's best team is also yes. Are you beginning to notice the diversity crisis, or lack thereof? Changli's best teammate's currently hard to pinpoint as she doesn't have a true foil to her gameplay yet, so at the moment it's a tie between Yinlin and Encore, but once again I think Yinlin's a bit more in tune with what Changli's trying to pull off. The two are both quick swap attackers with open-ended rotations. They both buff each other's liberations, which both constitute massive nukes, so by process of elimination the two Dami Mamis will work together nicely. Verena or Shorekeeper for healing. Encore's best teammate is probably going to be Changli or Sanhua. She's a hyper carry with a focus on basic attacks. Not that her attacks all scale off basic, rather she just uses a lot of basic attacks. Furthermore, Sanhua doesn't take up any field time at all really. Changli on the other hand brings a lot more damage, but playing Changli in Encore can be rather difficult, so it comes down to if you're a mechanical god or not. Nevertheless, Verena or Shorekeeper for healing. Jian's best teammate is Mortefi. Once again, being a hyper carry, you really just need someone who can give buffs and maybe coordinated attacks to supplement your damage on field. You might be wondering why Mortefi and not Zhezhi. It's because outro skill. Jian's a heavy attack scaling character, making Mortefi's outro a bit more efficient. Verena or Shorekeeper for healing. Shangli-Yao's best teammate is mutual to Yinlin's. Without question, you want to pair him up with the redhead. Yinlin's outro skill and freedom to swap cancel is quite literally a match made in heaven for Shangli Yao, who's both electro and liberation centric and can also swap cancel if he needs to. They're currently one of the few actual perfect pairs in Wuwa at the moment, Verena or Shorekeeper for healing. Havoc Rover's best teammate is Dungeon on account of the double Dreamless strategy and Dungeon's Havoc damage deepen. A very low cost team given one's free and the other's a 4-star and still very competitive at that. This team alone can carry you through most of the game until you get better units. Now for healer, I'm gonna say Shorekeeper over Verena purely because Shorekeeper has a passive ability that also gives her energy regen bonus to Rover, which I think might edge her out as a healer for this specific unit. It's a strange reason, but I think it's a valid one. Calculator's best teammate, despite having been dethroned from his original position, is Yinlin. Calcium's also an electro attacker and a liberation damage based unit, making Yinlin a prime choice for his partner, even though she cheated on him with Shangli Yao. But if you still have any intention to use Calzone, then say it with me folks, Verena or Shorekeeper for healing. Qianxin's a lot like Yang Yang, where she's a definition of jack of all trades, master of none. However, unlike Yang Yang, Qianxin does have a bit more niche of a natural skill. A 38% liberation damage deepen, a huge amount to give, so I would say that narrows down the pool a bit to units who primarily rely on liberation damage. Realistically, Shangli Yao is your best bet for a main attacker if say you didn't pull for Yinlin, so it would be Shangli Yao, Qianxin, and then Verena or Shorekeeper for healing. But really, anyone with a screen nuke for an ultimate could benefit from Qianxin like Changli or even Jinxi if you feel like it. Lingyang's best teammate is gonna be Zhezhi. Glacial damage boost on her outro skill, and Lingyang is glacial. As poor as he might be for a 5-star character, he can make decent use of Zhezhi's damage amplification. Are there much better characters to pair her with? Absolutely, but if you are adamant about using Lingyang, then Zhezhi would be his best partner. Verena or Shorekeeper for healing. Finally, Spectral Rover. Spectral Rover's main draw is that their outro skill can come in handy. Slowing enemies down gives you time to burst or avoid attacks. As such, they don't particularly have a certain teammate you want to put them on, but just like with Havoc Rover, Shorekeeper's hyper-specific passive also including them makes her the better healer of choice in any team that includes Spectral Rover, so prioritize her over Verena if you can. That concludes my guide on every character's best team, or should I say teammate. As you can see, no shortage of these two, holding a literal 100% pick rate so far, which I think makes them the first and only units in any gacha game I've ever played to be this dominant in the meta. We definitely need more support characters or buffers, maybe a shield support instead of a healer, that would be cool. Anyways, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. For now though, if you enjoyed the video, it would be great if you gave it a like and subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter @VarsVaram, join my Discord server, and check out my other Wuwa guide videos if you haven't yet. But till next time, thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.